it's me, your Void, and I got wrecked. It's that time of the year again, I guess, where the Adventurerathon happens, of which I am a proud co-host, together with Kirsty from K-Beth Bookish, who invented this whole madness, and I just kind of slipped into it. And yeah, even worse, I made things complicated for me, because of course I did. So in this round of the Adventurerathon, we all got collectively shipwrecked on an island, and now we need our particular set of skills to fix/rebuild the ship that we got wrecked on, so we can leave the island we got wrecked on. My words are not making sense today. It's fine. We just roll with it. So the way this readathon works this round is that during character creation, you picked a class, career, whatever. You picked one, and that will determine what your main prompt is for this round. You have to fulfill this prompt. This is the only prompt you have to fulfill. Everything else is kind of optional. Now, my genius ass thought during character creation doing one is boring, so let's do multiple. And I finished 2 class career thingies that made it through and are still there. Reminder, we had 14 in the beginning. We nailed it down to 7. So now I'm an assassin seer, meaning I have to do 2 main prompts. Then every character thing also comes with a second optional reading prompt and a optional non-reading prompt. And then, because we need to read even more, we have to collect things to repair the ship, and each thing we collect is another prompt. There are 5 different prompts, and we can read as many as we want of them, as long as we don't double up. I'm very bad at explaining this right now. Go watch Kirsty's announcement video. That's way better. That makes sense. What I'm saying doesn't. So long story short, I have to read 2 books. I can read so many more. Now, I have picked a book for both of my main prompts, both of my optional prompts, and 2 books per prompt of the resources we have to collect, which leaves me with a bunch of books to read, but only 2 of them are must-reads. Okay, cool. We're on the same page now, right? Cool. Let's start with the assassin, and the main prompt for the assassin is to read something that has a defensive word in the title or as part of the plot. And for that, I am going to read Shinigami Doctor Volume 2 by Karakara Kemuri. I guess the doctor could count as a defensive word, but also the whole plot is that these Shinigami doctors fight flower monsters that are threatening to eat people. Because in Shinigami Doctor, the apocalypse has happened and there is no plant life on the planet anymore, except this Shinigami flower. The thing is, the Shinigami flower is more like an infection, and then it just starts to grow inside of you, and when it blooms, it spreads its spores, and first and foremost, it kills its host, and then it's spreading its spores in order to infect more people, to kill more people. This plant kills people, and the Shinigami doctors fight these plants and protect humanity from extinction by plant. So that's a defensive title. Shinigami Doctor Volume 2. This is my must-read for the assassin. I have to read this. Oh no, 192 pages of a manga. I'm not sure if I can finish that in 31 days. And the optional prompt for the assassin is night shift guarding things. Fittingly enough, for that we need to read a book that either has the word night or shadow in the title, and for that I'm going to pick up The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is a bit of an experiment because I read The Starless Sea and I loved The Starless Sea, and according to the internet, when you like The Starless Sea, you are going to hate The Night Circus. And in my eternal wisdom, I want to prove the world wrong and I want to be the exception to the rule, so I picked up The Night Circus and I want to read it, and I hope that I'm going to enjoy it. Statistics say that I'm going to hate it, but here we are. I totally forgot what The Night Circus is about. I think it is about 2 people. Yes, it's Celia and Marco, and they are both magicians in this circuit, and they have been trained since childhood for a deadly duel. I guess they're going to fight each other and only one of them is supposed to survive, but it also says something about love, so I don't know. I just remember that The Starless Sea was very whack and there was a lot going on that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was beautifully written and I expect similar things to this, although the blurb lets me think that there's going to be a bit more of a coherence to the plot. I don't know. I just just picked it up because I want to prove the statistics wrong, because that's what I do. And then, because I'm also a seer, I have another must-read prompt, which has to do with the weather, because the seers are basically turning into meteorologists, and we now do the weather forecast. So in order to do that, our main prompt has to do with the weather forecast, and it has to feature either a sun or the rain on the cover. And for that, I'm going with Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner, which is the second book in the God Killer, I think, or Lost Gods or something. It's the second book in a trilogy by Hannah Kaner. The third book just came out. I read the first book 2 months ago? I don't know. I just read the first book and I loved it, and this is book 2. And as you can see, it has the word sun in the title, but it also has like a stylized sun behind the head of the guy that is not Poseidon, but looks like Poseidon. So that's what I'm going with. And in this one, we are following 3, technically 4 characters, I think. We follow a knight, a god killer, and a girl who is linked to a god of white lies. And they have to do things in a world where if you even believe a tiny bit in something, a god can form. And there was like giant god war and everything went to shit. And now the world is living in the aftermath of that. But the things happened in book 1 that are probably going to be continued in book 2, I guess. And then technically the optional prompt is not that optional for me, because this book I picked up for that optional prompt is also part of a book club that is happening at the beginning of May, and that is the catch-up book club. We are currently reading The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, and Ruin is going to fill in prompt number 2 for the seer, which is that the book has to start out in a bleak situation or in a not so good place for the characters. If you know what happened at the end of Valor, you know that that is very much true, at least for one character, maybe even more. But at least one character starts this book with an identity crisis. So that's kind of a bad spot, right? The Faithful and the Fallen is a Norse-ish inspired fantasy series by John Gwynne. I wasn't the biggest fan of Valor, and I don't know what's going to happen in Ruin. I hope it's going to be more than what happened in Valor and Malice. For Malice, I could excuse the not much happens because it was a setup for a giant-ass fantasy series. Like, these books are 600 pages plus. This one, I believe, is over 700 pages. But in Valor, I wanted more, but it just felt that very slow. Like, it was the slowest road trip in history. Driving 25 hours down to Rome from where I live felt quicker than reading Valor. But the end of Valor promises things are happening in Ruin, and I very much bank on that. And I have to read this at the beginning of the month because the live show is early on in May. And I'm very glad that I have the audiobook for this available to me. And now we go to the ship repair prompts. As I've said before, there is a total of 5 different prompts. You don't have to read a single one of those. You can also read only 1 or only 2. You can read 2 books or more for 1 prompt. You can only read books for 1 prompt if you want to. It's a team effort to collect all of these ingredients to build the ship or rebuild the ship. So it's a mixed bag of things you can do. Now, I have 2 reads per prompt, but we put a little footnote on that because I also have a list. I have a handy dandy spreadsheet actually right here with like 4 to 5 books that fulfill each prompt, and I picked 2, which I will definitely put on my TBR because there are also some rules about you make your TBR and if you announce it, you're not allowed to shift it, blah, blah, blah. And I had a really good reading year so far, so there is a chance that I'm reading even more than what I'm telling you about in this video. I keep my options open. So I will put down 2 books per prompt. If I read every single one of them, we will see. Now, the first prompt is that we need to pick up lumber. We need to pick up wood to build the fucking ship. And for that, you have to have at least 1 tree on the cover. My 2 picks for this prompt are the first volume of the Elden Ring manga, which I only picked up because I love Elden Ring and I didn't know that they made a manga, and I don't know anything about the story of the manga. I think it kind of follows the story of the video game, but with like a weird, goofy protagonist. I think. I'm not sure, but flicking through it, this man only picks up armor in the last chapter. chapter. And other than that, he is literally butt naked. Don't believe me? Look at this. Please don't censor me, YouTube. That is how he's running around the whole manga. So, yeah. And as you can see, in the background, we have the shimmering silhouette of the Earth tree, which is a tree of gods. And down in the background, we see a couple more trees of like where the tree sentinels and shit is running around. So, yeah, trees. Elden Ring. I love Elden Ring. I'm a nerd. And the second book I'm putting down for this TBR is such a poetic pick, which is why it landed on this TBR ultimately. And that is Blood of Empire by Brian McClellan, the third book in the Gods of Blood and Powder series, the sixth book in the whole Powder Mage universe. And this is poetic for so many reasons. First and foremost, if you know me, you know that I love everything Brian McClellan puts on the page, right? Second of all, I realized when making this TBR that I read the whole trilogy, the whole second trilogy, for the first time for the Adventurerathon. I read Sins of Empire for one round, and I read Wrath of Empire for a round. So now it's just fitting to finish off with Blood of Empire. Blood of Empire by Brian McClellan, the conclusion to the Gods of Blood and Powder series, where we fight over a rock. And that is all I'm going to say about that. We have nations and mercenaries fighting over rocks. Technically over one rock. It's a big one, not a mountain, but it's a rock. And as you can see, there is a bunch of trees on the cover. They don't have a canopy because they are big, but it's trees. This is an 800-page chunker. Why am I doing this to myself? For the next prompt, I'm cheating a bit, just a tiny bit, because we are reading to get nails, so the prompt is to have metal in the title. I don't have a lot of books that have specifically a metal in the title, but I am employing a tactic that I was also employing for my Aurelium TBR, which is using series titles because they are on the cover of books. So I will be reading Hounded and Hexed by Kevin Hearne, which are the first and the second book in the Iron Druid Chronicles. These are the German covers, and the Germans love to put the series titles on the cover, not just on the spine. So this word right here, this means iron. This is the adjective for iron if you translate it. So it's on the cover, therefore it counts. I have read both of these before. I have also read book 3 before, and I own book 4 and 5 since last year. And I technically wanted to pick up book 4 and 5 for this round, but then I realized it's been a hot second since I read book 1, 2, and 3. So I decided to just reread these. I really enjoyed these. I remember that much. In this one, we follow a 2100-year-old druid named Atticus O'Sullivan, and he's just chilling in Arizona because he's hiding from a bunch of gods. Problem being, they find him. Book 1, they find him, and he's getting in trouble. All sorts of trouble. And then in book 2, it's not the gods that he has to fear, but a coven of Polish witches that are doing things in his neighborhood, so he has to fix them. Ever by his side is his wolf hound, a baron, which he made immortal by putting something in his sausages. It's that kind of stupid fun, and it plays around with Celtic mythology, and it's just, there is a lot of mythology. Like it's based on Celtic mythology, but there are multiple kinds of mythology in here being used. We have Native American representation. I don't remember in which one, but one of the books features Jesus, and he's turning a cheeseburger into something else. Jesus apparently loves cheeseburgers. I don't know. It's that kind of humor, and that is exactly the humor I like. So yes, these two books. And yes, you guessed correct. If I want to read more with metal in the title, I will pick up the next 3 books in the series. Should I have time for that? Then we come to a bit of an outlier. Clothing on the cover for the canvas prompt. I specifically asked Kirsten, yes, as a co-host, I'd also have to clarify some of the prompts. Clothing on the cover does include people who are wearing that clothing, meaning the world is my oyster. So I was like, I could make life so bad for myself. I could make it so much worse. I already have a 800-page John Gwynne on here. I already have an 800-page Brian McClellan on here. So I was like, what if I put on another 800-page book? I didn't. It's on the list. It's in the spreadsheet. But I'm not going to put it down for the TBR in case I have to switch it out. So you will not get the title of the chonker that I thought would be funny to read. Instead, I'm going to read Sanctify, Volume 1 and 2 by GODSTATION. I picked this up on a whim, the same time I picked up the Elden Ring manga. This one I picked up because A, I love me some Catholic guilt, and this is giving John Constantine vibes, but also some Hannibal, like the NBC show Hannibal vibes. And the title just made me chuckle because that's an inside joke between me and my best friend, based on a book I wrote, which is based on a very bad TV show, which is based on a very bad movie. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to explain it. Just know that when you say the word sanctify in my general vicinity and I hear it, I'm going to chuckle, and you will never know why. Anyways, I don't know a lot about this other than we follow an exorcist guy. I think he's an exorcist, and he is basically working for the police in she's taking a look at the strange cases. Normal ass setup. You have a strange guy working for the police on the strange cases, and he is assigned another police dude to like just have an eye on him, I guess. And that is literally all I know. That the exorcist is a lone wolf kind of guy, very much John Constantine, and he gets a partner even though he doesn't want a partner, and he definitely doesn't need a partner, and he works alone and blah 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 to take care of him. I also know that there is some dark elements going on with some obsession between certain characters, and it is a very explicit manga, and that is all I know about this. But the art style looks amazing. Like these came with like some art prints, and this inside, like, look at this art style. It's just so good. The covers alone. There's a poster in here. Oh my god, there's a poster in here. I didn't know there was a poster in here. Look at this. Look at this. So, yeah. Rivers of blood, Catholic guilt, demons, and brutality, and like, yes. That is my jam. And if you know me, I love John Constantine, and this is like, this reads like a very dark and gritty and very gay version of John Constantine. Like, even gayer than John Constantine is gay. So these are the books I'm putting down for the canvas prompt. So don't come for me, Kirsty, just because I have redundancy plans. The prompt for Rope wants us to read something that has a certain kind of bond in the title. It can be family, friend, stuff like that. Just as long as there could be a line drawn on a family tree, that counts as a bond. And for that, I'm going to pick up Spy Family, Volume 4, because family, you know? I had Volume 1 on my shelf for so long, and I'm very glad that I finally got around to picking it up, because this shit is so funny. This shit is so funny. In Spy Family, we follow a guy. He is the bestest secret agent of his country, and he is assigned a mission to unveil the evil plans of one evil bad guy, but in order to get to the evil bad guy, he needs to get to the child of the evil bad guy. In order to get to the evil child of the evil bad guy, he needs a child of his own to throw it into the school so the child can befriend the evil child, and then he can get to the dad and stuff like that. So this super duper special agent of secrecy just gets himself a child. Problem being, the child can read minds. He doesn't know that the child can read minds, and the child doesn't know that dad is a super secret agent, kind of. And what does a dad and a child need? A mom, of course. So he just randomly fake marries this woman he met on the street. Problem being, the woman he met on the street is actually a assassin serial killer situation. So now we have the super secret spy, the killer lady, and a mind-reading child, and they are playing family, and none of them know about the other's secret identity. Shenanigans ensue, and judging by this cover and some things that happened in the previous volumes, I think we are also getting a very weird dog now. And the second book I will pick up for this is going to be a bit of a stretch, because the English title does not have a bond in it. The English title is Witch and Cat. The German title, however, if you translate the German title back into English, the German title has a bond in it. The German title is Der Vertraute des Hexers. If I translate that back into English, it means the witch's confidant. Confidant is a connection. It's an emotional connection, therefore it is a bond, therefore I'm counting it. Don't come for me, Kirsty. Stretching. And in The Witch's Confidant, or in Witch and Cat, we follow two guys, and they are just hanging out. I think they are roommates, or at least like live in the same building, I don't know. And one day, one of them is getting attacked and the other one is stepping in and gets shot. And technically, he is supposed to die. He would die. But then the guy he protected is like, bitch, I can save your life because I'm a witch, but you kind of have to be my familiar or my confidant. So there's a whole weird connection going on, and it's also a boys love manga, so because of course this connection then turns out, and they make this deal that the guy who was shot is becoming the witch's confidant. They seal the deal and shenanigans ensue from there, I guess. All I know about this is one of them gets shot and instead of dying he becomes the witch's familiar, and it's boys love. We go from there. And the last prompt is for pitch, because we also have to glue everything together. And for pitch we have a relatively easy prompt, at least for me, to fulfill, and that is to read something with a predominantly black cover. The world is my oyster for that one. That prompt actually has a very long list, and there are also some very long books on that list, which I won't mention, so I can shift them around behind the scenes. One of the books I will put down on this TBR for that is City of Carnal Delight by Chloe Parker, which is a 1920s, I think, yes, 1920s paranormal polycule romance between Exorcist, a fire starter, so I guess like a pyromancer or something, I don't know, and a medium, and a veteran who is outfitted with an arcane mask that allows him to see through the veil. So I guess he can see ghosts, and they are hunting down Jack the Ripper's ghost, I think. I picked this up because I very much enjoyed In Her Thrall by Chloe Parker, which was a polycule situation between a vampire lady, a fan-housing vampire hunter who was trying to kill her, his medium boyfriend, and this random doctor friend they have who turns out to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and they all end up in a polycule situation, and I very much enjoyed that one, so I picked up The City of Carnal Delight the second it was announced that it would be coming out, so now I'm going to read about that. Vampires! How incredibly rude that my camera died, like right before I was talking about the last read for my frickin' TBR. And the last read I am going to put on this TBR, solidly put on this TBR for the pitch prompt with the black cover, is going to be The Dark One by Nikki and Crowe, which is the second book in the Lost Boys series, Dark Lost Boys series, I don't quite know. Vicious Lost Boys, that's the title. Which is a Dark Peter Pan retelling, because I have so many Peter Pan retellings for some reason. In this one, we originally, in book 1, followed Wendy Darling, I think it was Wendy Darling, who was kidnapped by Peter Pan because her family, the Darlings, hold a genetically decoded, like they have in their genetics, in their subconscious or somewhere, they have the information where Peter Pan's shadow is hiding, or was hidden, by Tinkerbell. And he desperately wants it back, so he is kidnapping Darlings, and then he is just like mind scrambling them to find the information in their subconscious. And it is a dark romance reverse harem situation, so the Lost Boys all get a turn, I guess. But Wendy is the first Darling who kind of enjoys it, and we go from there. I read book 1 a while ago, and I'm not going to lie, I put The Dark One onto this TBR simply because I want to continue the series. It's one of my goals this year to finish or catch up with at least 5 series I'm reading, because I'm reading so many series at the moment. So I put The Dark One in there to just get my ass rolling through that series. That is the only reason why I put it on there. Again, I have a super long list of books with black covers, predominantly black covers. I have so many black covers on my shelves. The list is long, but I put specifically The Dark One on there because I need to continue my series. Like, I have the whole series, just need to read it. And that's it. That is all the books I am willing to actively, openly, publicly put on my TBR to read. Again, I only have to read 2 of those. Technically 3 if we count Ruin by John Gwynne, but oh my god. I hope it's better than Valor, because if it's boring like Valor, I will DNF the series. I don't care at this point. I have better things to do with my life than suffer through 800 pages of people putting on their armor and sheathing sheathing their sword and unsheathing their sword and saying something in giant so that things happen. Oh my god. Why are we zooming in on so many details? Anyway, if you made it this far into the video, let me know if you're participating in the Adventurerathon, what class you have picked up. Also, if you have any questions about how the Adventurerathon works in general. We have a Discord, we have super friendly hosts. Hi! I am a super friendly host. I love to answer questions. But yeah, you can ask in the Discord, head to the Discord. You can ask on Instagram. We have an Instagram account for this whole thing. You can also just ask down in the comments if all else fails. Pretty sure you can ask Kirsty as well. I don't know, could be wrong. But you can ask any kinds of questions and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. But yeah, let me know if you participate, if you want to participate, as what you will participate. And if you don't have anything to say at all, leave a ocean wave. There's this wave emoji, right? Ocean wave or ship emoji or pirate flag emoji. Anything like ship, piratey, shipwrecked, island related. Leave one of those emojis down there in the comments. Surprise me. And yeah, I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye.